Hello, and welcome to ComSpark TV. We are live today from Columbus, Ohio. I'm Robert Brennan, Market Vice President for Expedient, and I'm joined today by Robert Zahn, Chief Information Officer for AAA of Ohio Automobile Club. Robert, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. Robert, let's jump right in. So it's a very competitive marketplace out there. What are some things that AAA is currently doing to differentiate itself for its customers?
So there's been a lot of things we've done over the past, but again, I'll concentrate on one item that we've really picked up last year and we're doing more work on this year. So we, in servicing our member, feel strongly about how we deal with that. And so we've put a new emphasis on customer service. So we reached out to one of the partners we work with, Ritz-Carlton, who has a customer excellence. They're one of the leaders in the hotel industry for that. And we sent all of our management last year to a customer excellence seminar hosted by Ritz-Carlton. So we went through that. They talked about how they do it in their industry, how they empower employees to make more decisions, to do the things that are right for the customer. And so some of the things that came out of that for us is, and of course I have it with me, is we have kind of our own pocket card. It's Ohio Auto Club 5 Diamond Standards, 5 Diamond, going after what we do with hotels and stuff as far as the Diamonds ratings that we provide out there. And so it really is a card that walks our employees through kind of what AAA is about. It was founded on service for a public need. We absolutely wanted to work on absolute excellence in mind when we created this association way back in 1902. And so it gives especially new employees a little bit of history who we are. We kind of talk about what our core values are. We have our promise to the employees in there as well, and then we have our promise of what we try to do for the members, and that's deliver exceptional experiences every time. And it's experiences for us because with our members, the number of business lines that we have, insurance, of course emergency road service, but travel, so we really are trying to make that experience better and better and get the employees better. And so besides the pocket card, we have some of the traditional things like Employee of the Month, but another thing that we've done is, besides just this card, is we've created videos. So like when we talk about a friendly greeting here, we actually have videos that we've created to demonstrate that for the employee. We picked up other training resources, and so every morning, every store, every department has either a morning huddle or an afternoon huddle just to get together with the employees for a quick 5-10 minutes. We go over one of the new standards of the day, and so we go over that so we get that repetition, get it built into everybody's mind, because Ritz-Carlton does that as well, and the repetition helps all the employees with that. And so we'll have the huddle, and then we'll go over recognition, right? Does anybody, either from another employee or someone on the team, has somebody met that 5 Diamond standard, right? And so we'll do recognition right there in the huddle of people that are doing good work every day. And then, those get collected, and then we have an Employee of the Month as well. So that's one of the things we're trying to do to provide some differentiation, is really step up the service that we're providing to our members.
That's great. Customer experience is so important. So finding those best practices and finding ways to then educate your teams is so valuable. So to that end, how does IT play a role in supporting those products and services and experiences for AAA?
Yeah, and so of course there's all the traditional things that IT does with providing hardware, making sure the hardware's up and running, servers, phone systems, applications. But the one I picked for today's conversation is our help desk. And so right from the beginning, when we put our help desk together, we didn't like the word help desk because in so many companies it's joked as the helpless desk, right? And so we call ours the Technology Solution Center. Okay, we're there to provide solutions when the people call. And our help desk is a little bit different than most technology companies or even companies here in Columbus. Because of our travel agency, 50% of the calls or the tickets that we get all relate to travel, right? A travel agent for the first time might have to book a train pass in Europe, right? Might not know how to do that. And so the ladies, there's 6 of them that work for our department and our Technology Center. They have over 150 years of AAA experience. Every one of them has either been in the membership department or in the travel department as well, at a store, booking travel for members. So they have a vast wide array of experience of how to do this day to day. And then the technology pieces, we're trying to train them on the technology pieces as we go along when we have new applications and stuff like that. But the one thing we did in response to the customer excellence we're trying to do with members is, from the IT side, we're trying to provide that same customer excellence to our frontline associates, right? To our kind of internal customers. So what we did is we took a look at some of the statistics, some of the things we do with our help desk. We noticed that Mondays, like everybody, I'm sure, has a 50% increase in calls and tickets on Mondays. Everybody seems to call in Monday, right? Lunchtime, again, members come to our stores, so we get more calls during lunchtime. So we did some analytics to take a look at when that is. We've shifted some staff around to, have more staff available on Mondays, have more staff during lunch times, differentiate their lunch times a little bit before and after so that we can stay there during the peak rush. And so the other thing we did is we broke the help desk kind of into 2 tiers. Okay, so we'll have one tier of help desk that stay available for the calls, and that's all they'll handle. And then during the slower times, we'll have a second tier of a few people that will work on the chats that we get or on emails, which are lower priority, processing those, so they're trying to keep up on stuff. And then the other part that we feel proud of is that each quarter we evaluate the tickets, and the most tickets we get, we take a look at what the root cause of it is, right? Is it something with the application? Is it something with hardware? Is it just the fact that the documentation doesn't exist out there? And so particularly where there's documentation or help desk or like one-page little guides that we can provide, those help desk staff work with the business unit to get those little one-page sheets put together and put that out there. So we're trying to develop a self-knowledge repository so that our associates can help themselves too at some point when they feel comfortable for it. If they still feel comfortable calling, that's fine, but for those that feel comfortable going out, looking it up, doing it themselves, we're trying to get all that documentation in place as well. So that's how we're trying to make a little bit more difference with the frontline associates.
Absolutely. That's really great. Clearly you have a lot of experience with this. As a longtime IT leader in Central Ohio, what is some advice you would have for an aspiring IT leader in our community?
My advice comes a little bit, I'll give you just a quick brief background. So I was an engineer at Ohio State, industrial systems engineer. I went back and got my MBA in 2009, and so one of the most important things I learned about that was during that MBA class and stuff. And so having an engineering, problem solving, wanting to make a difference, and then the business side of the MBA, again, not being an expert in all those business functions, but knowing a little bit more about accounting, about finance, about marketing, about all these things, that combination is really good. And so if you're going to be an aspiring CIO in the future, understanding both of those, not saying that you have to go get your MBA, but having some business knowledge and some technology knowledge put together is very helpful. And then really one of the most important things I learned is most of the time you go through through your business environment and through your work, you work really hard, you get successful, you get promoted, you work really hard, but the onus is really on yourself, right? Most of the time you might have teams, you might do stuff together, but it's really more on how good you are, the amount of work you put in, getting things right. Well, once you get to that upper level where you're either a director, sometimes a vice president or a CIO, it's really not so much about your own work anymore. And so that's probably the one thing I'd make sure that they realize. Now, whether you want to or not, because all people are different, you have to be able to work with your peers. So you have to be able to influence people. You have to be able to work to a common good. Sometimes you might not get that department to want to go in the direction that we think we need to technology-wise. That's right. You find a champion somewhere else. You make them successful, you make their department successful, and then you hope that expands out, and then if you have to, you tackle that one at the very end, right? And so it's really not so much about you anymore. You got to form a good team around you, and so many of the leaders in Columbus would tell you, you hire the best and the brightest you can, right? But then also having good partners is really important as well, right? And so having good partners that are there not only with you when things are successful and when you're implementing things, but they're also there when mistakes happen or stuff needs fixed. You need partners that are there during the thick and thin, right? So that's probably what I would recommend. You just have to change your mindset a little bit when you go up the ladder that way.
Yeah, that's great. That focus on teams and partnerships and collaboration, so valuable. Hopefully our aspiring leaders are listening. Well, Robert, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Please visit ComSpark.tech to learn more about tech power players and learn more from innovative leaders in our community like Robert Zahn. Robert, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the time today.
Thank you.